need to have a healthy attitude to respect even these insignificant problems with ESD. Once you are aware that they are occurring and that they can lead to worse problems or to frustrating situations, and you take a step to rectify it before you have hard failures where it's identified as a failure, you're doing a very, very good thing in your life. And I think part of the problem is there's not enough knowledge about what simple, easy steps I can take that really do matter and do work. It's a little bit of a subject that's just secondary enough, just low enough priority that it doesn't quite get, it's not visible to everyone.
Hi, I'm David Cram of Apple Service. I know you'll be thrilled to hear that the computer service industry has a problem that many of us have never really faced before. Sparks. The kind you get on a dry day when you touch a doorknob, only much, much smaller. So small you can't see them, you can't feel them. They never used to bother us much. Integrated circuits were pretty coarse 10 years ago, but now we have circuits so small and so fragile that very low voltages can make chips like these stop working, or worse, cause them to look like they're working but do weird and unreliable things. And it's getting worse. Just about every computer product made today has chips in it that can be damaged by the charge that's just resting in a necktie or a synthetic sweater. We're talking about ESD, electrostatic discharge. Here's what happens. When some dry non-conductors separate, they each take an opposite charge. If there's a conductor nearby, the non-conductor will induce a charge on the conductor, and the conductor discharges it when it gets close to another conductor. And that discharge is what causes the damage. When you walk across a carpet, your shoes separate from the carpet, creating a charge on them. And the charge on your shoes creates a charge on your feet by induction. Now your sweat layer makes you a conductor all over, and the charge clings to the surface of your body until you touch another conductor like a doorknob or another person or an IC chip. Then it discharges in the form of a miniature lightning bolt. If you can feel it, it was at least 3,000 volts. 10 years ago, these things had traces big enough to tolerate a 3,000 volt hit and still work. But some of the tracers we're using now are so thin they can be damaged by as little as 30 volts. It'd have to be 100 times stronger for you to even feel it. What do you have to do to generate 30 volts? I'll raise my arm. That's about 225 volts. As you can see, it doesn't take much. There are two kinds of problems. One is the field created by certain non-conductors, such as plastics. The other problem is discharge from one conductor to another. How do we know about all this? I can't touch a working chip and then take it apart and show you the damage. We'd have to use an electron scanning microscope that magnifies several thousand times. It's an expensive process and not something we'd do casually. But if you take the top off the chip and look for damage, and if it looks like this, or this, you know it was caused by a spark. Believe me, if you need proof, we've got tons of hard evidence and thousands of photographs. Actually, we believe in a lot of things we can't see. Germs, radio waves, radioactivity, for just a few examples. 150 years ago, the medical profession had never heard of germs, and it took a long time to convince surgeons that they have to scrub up before cutting into someone and not just wash up afterward. Another example is radioactivity. We believe in it not because we can feel it, but because we know its effects can be horrible. Now, it's not so important for you to understand exactly what happens inside the chip when it gets zapped by an electrostatic charge. It is important to accept the fact that something happens, something bad, to the boards that you care about. This is a machine built by 3M to demonstrate the reality of ESD damage. Here we have a MOSFET transistor, but what we're going to see done to it could be done to a CMOS chip just as easily. First, we're going to test one. If it's good, she can set this to 10, and this won't go above 325. So that's good. Now we'll check it for leakage. And as the transistor warms up, that should come down to 0. The tension mounts. Okay, we got a good one. Now I'm just going to charge myself and touch it. And we got a dead short. Let's try it with a new one. Okay, check it for... This is just an overhead transparency foil. I'm not actually going to touch it, but we're representing the kind of problem caused by bringing charged non-conductors close to a chip. Okay. And also this time we're going to put it on a little board. Just put it on the... Okay, now I want to wave this over the top without touching it. I'll wave it under the bottom. Okay, now check it again. Okay, that part's still good. Check it for leaks. Uh-oh, it has a short. And I didn't touch the transistor.